Lighthizer, thank you. Thanks for your service and what you're trying to be able to take on. You inherited a mess on trade worldwide, and there are a lot of issues that are happening, but they all need to be cleaned up. So the grand challenge is how do we actually get this done? So what I'd like to be able to hear from you is what has been done to date? What are some of the wins that you've already had on trade issues? And then what are the priorities, and specifically for us and for me in particular, what are we trying to get to? Because it looks like we're trying to increase tariffs everywhere. Is the goal to increase tariffs, or is the goal to get tariffs down everywhere? So the wins and the goal.
Thank you, Senator. First of all, I think the biggest single thing is and I've said this, that we're close to having a deal with Mexico, and hopefully that will lead to a deal with Canada. We have negotiated a successful renegotiation, of course. And then one of the things that I alluded to before that we don't give credit to is a whole variety of things that we have done, and I'll just mention briefly, we have opened up Guatemala to poultry. We have gone in there and negotiated and changed it. Rice in Nicaragua. We have changed gotten the EU to change the way they treat U.S. citrus in a beneficial way. Dried distilled grain is something that's important to a lot of people, and we have opened up the market in several places, and even in China got rid of their countervailing duties. Rice exports to Colombia, we've opened up that market. Corn also to Colombia. Pork, Argentina lifted their ban that they'd had in place for years and years and years, and now they're accepting U.S. Pork. This distilled dried grains exports, once again in Vietnam, they closed our market in 2016, and I could go on. There's a whole bunch of these things. Lamb in Japan, they had a ban on lamb in Japan. I mean, these are things that no one reads about or knows about, but they're things we do every day to help agriculture and help. And many of them, by the way, are coming to us at the request of members of the Congress because of their constituents, and we're spending a lot of time on them and have a number of successes. In terms of, I guess your second question was, what's the
second question is really the goal. More tariffs or less tariffs? And it's really, are we on offense trying to find more markets, or are we just trying to fix broken markets already?
Well, what the president wants to do, the president's fundamental belief is that if we have an environment in which we're competing based on economics, not based on artificial barriers to trade, not based on tariffs, not based on subsidies, which is an important part of this because the United States is relatively not a subsidizer, that the United States will do very well, and economics will determine these things, who ends up succeeding and who doesn't in our own economy, and that's the way that it should be. The question is, when you don't have that circumstance, what do you do? What's your reaction? Till now, I believe the problem has been basically, the solution has been one of nibbling around the edges. I think that's what's happened. I followed this for a long, long time, and I could talk about it for years and years and years. Not that anyone was selling us down the road or anything. They were just dealing with problems at the edges. And I think this president's view is that we've now gotten to the point where we have the trade deficit that's so extreme at $800 billion that we just can't nibble around the edges. We have to change, and particularly with respect to China, where it's $375 billion. I mean, that's bigger than the GDP of most countries, right? It's just enormous. So what his objective is, and I think he stated it yesterday, and he has stated it on a number of other occasions, he wants to be in an environment, and we'll do it however we have to do it, where we don't have, where U.S. producers, companies and farmers and ranchers are not treated unfairly, that they can compete based on economics. That's what his objective is, Senator. Right. And this is his way of trying to do it, right? I mean,
well, I would tell you, for the ag folks that are in my state, they're looking for more markets and more places to get into. They already have markets that they're in now, and now there's the tariffs and the issues they're facing as a result of response. They want those to be fixed, but they're still looking for the new places, more places they can take the product. And as you and I have talked about before, the steel tariffs are helping steel companies in the United States, but they're not helping actual construction in the United States, whether you're building products or whether you are building small offices or stores or whatever it may be, because the cost is going up. And now the cost of construction, once it's done, exceeds the value that you can actually sell into that area. So all of those things do have a real effect, that you know, and you and I have talked about issues like softwood lumber coming from Canada and some of the issues there, or paper products coming from Canada, and so many other issues that are out there. The target goal is how to get some of these resolved long-term so that we can go start fighting for the new places in the new countries to be able to do business and be on offense again.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I guess what's more important, the president certainly agrees with you on the fundamental direction, and I think he agrees with most members about how to get there, but it's sort of, it's not an easy thing, but directionally we completely agree with you, Senator.
Senator Lankford, thank you.